Welcome back to CBS Sports HQ. There's a QB changeup for the Jets as they prepare for the Lions on Sunday. Zach Wilson, he's going to be under center when they host Detroit. Team doctors not clearing Mike White after he suffered a rib injury during last week's loss to the Bills. Wilson going to be making his first start since he was benched 3 weeks ago. Here's more from Robert Saleh and Dan Campbell on Wilson's start.
And for him, it's really just making the easy with regards to just getting your feet where they need, in the direction they need to go, get your body set, and deliver the football the way he knows how. And I mean, he's the same quarterback that once went 18 for 18 in a bowl game, so he's very capable. It's just a matter of just being conscientious and tying everything together.
We kind of had an idea, so we're ready. We knew he was going to the game anyway, so we figured they were going to play him. He's a competitor like most players in this league, so he'll want to, go out there and play well. And, he's certainly talented, and they'll have a good game plan designed for him to where he can succeed and they can get it to their weapons, and they can control the game and play good defense. So, they're going to try to take the pressure off of him as much as possible and just let him be him, use his talents, his skills.
All right, let's welcome in our NFL insider, Josina Anderson, to talk about Zach Wilson getting the start on Sunday against the Lions. We just heard from Dan Campbell there, Josina, Lions saying that they've been preparing for Zach Wilson. During the break, you were just saying you were in communication with the Lions. So what did they tell you about Zach Wilson and this whole QB situation?
Well, first and foremost, the thing that kind of sticks out to me about what Dan Campbell said, saying that we kind of had an idea, a lot of these teams end up being, kind of clandestine when it comes to the injury report and their plans. But oftentimes behind the scenes, some of these intentions end up leaking out because a lot of these players from different teams have a common agent. So do the coaches. So while teams end up trying to be clandestine, a lot of times, as he indicated, the information does leak out regardless. In regards to your question with my conversation with the source from the team in reaction to the announcement that the Jets are going to bump up Zach Wilson now from QB3 to QB2 to QB1, is that they regard Zach Wilson as a, quote, another nameless face that they have to go up against. It really, for them, is more about what they have to do, continuing the surge that they are on, winning 5 of the last 6 games that they have, and feeling like really that this doesn't change much. One of the contrasts that they did point out as I, continued to press as far as what's the difference in what they would have been expecting from Mike White in comparison to Zach Wilson is just saying that Mike White for them is more of a drop back quarterback who goes through their reads and has the ability to throw it all over the field. While this source mentioned that to them, Zach Wilson tends to do more RPOs when he is in there. So that's one contrast that they are expecting. Hopefully this report does not alter that scouting report for them. But nonetheless, this doesn't shift their mindset in terms of them having to do whatever it needs to be done when it just comes to football and that great matchup that will now have more storylines going into it.
Yeah, and Josina, something else that you've been on top of for the last few weeks, Odell Beckham Jr. and his free agency. We know he was in talks with the Giants, Buffalo, and Dallas. You were giving us live reports during all of those visits. Jerry Jones, he's been pretty vocal about the Cowboys and their situation with Odell. So what is the latest with that?
And also just to include in that list conversations, as mentioned before, with the Ravens and the Chiefs. And you're right, exactly, Jacqueline. Jerry Jones, as is customary, has been very vocal and has not absconded from his usual role of being very, shrewd when it comes to negotiating in public as well, and making sure that overall, not only is he an excellent businessman, but also managing the narrative. So yes, there have been talks with Jerry Jones, the Cowboys owner, and the local reporters there in Dallas as the owners' meetings there wrap up, including him saying to one, quote, stay tuned, that he is expecting something to get done soon, even going as far as to saying Odell will join us. My current understanding as of this talk back is that nothing is imminent or instantaneously imminent. Obviously, when you're going through free agency talks and decisions on the part of the player and a part of the team, things remain fluid. But my understanding as of this conversation right now, that nothing is instantaneous or imminent with regards to a decision to join or have terms agreed upon with the Dallas Cowboys as of this very moment.
And Josina, you just spoke with Commanders head coach Ron Rivera one-on-one ahead of their big primetime matchup with the Giants. What were some of the big takeaways from your conversation that you had with him?
Well, first and foremost, off the top, just from a personal standpoint, when you really just reflect of all of the headlines that Ron Rivera has had to deal with just this year alone, from Dwayne Haskins passing to Brian Robinson being shot, to the congressional hearings, to the D.C. Attorney General suing the team, to the team being up for sale, whether it be the minority or the majority stake, dealing with Chase Young, his first top draft pick since coming from the Panthers to Washington, also dealing with his comeback. So there's just been a lot that he's had to manage as the face of this team, let alone the head coach, and really just trying to get an idea of how he's managing that stress, particularly in light of what just happened, unfortunately and tragically, to Mike Leach, as these head coaches and coaches around the league tried to manage overall themselves personally, as well as the oversight of the team, that being in context of what Ron Rivera has also dealt with his past health issues as well. And furthermore, beyond that, from a football standpoint, is just Chase Young. We know that he was activated in week 12, still has not been on the field, missed 2 games and also a bye. And what is really just the update with regards to him playing or not against the Giants this game, now that it's been flexed to prime time. And so I thought it was very interesting that he continued to underline, that being Ron Rivera, that he's not going to push Chase Young, that this is a group decision, because not only are they mindful of now, but also just the overall future with regards to his overall health. And I thought that was interesting with the job that Ron Rivera has to do, managing him physically and psychologically, because it's that component as well. And juxtaposing that to the comparison of Tre'Davious White, who also came back from a long-term ACL injury, but managed to just do some smaller pitch count and a smaller snap, just knowing that he doesn't have to have a hero's return, and that being okay if he were to play against the Giants or not, which is still not for sure.
And Josina, with the QB situation, Taylor Heinicke, he's kind of been on a roll. What did he mention as far as Heinicke's future, whether it's with the Commanders or not? What did he have to say about that?
Well, really interesting situation with Tyler Heinicke, especially when you consider the fact that he is eligible for unrestricted free agency next year. And this is also a quarterback, albeit not the one who started this season, who did take them to the playoffs against the Bucs, although they lost that wild card game, and has the opportunity over the last 4 games to lead them potentially to another postseason appearance. So how do you deal with that? And then you're looking at the fact that Heinicke does not have one of these typical blue chip resumes as some of the other quarterbacks do, like a Carson Wentz. And he just said that they're looking for Heinicke to continue doing what they're asking him to do. He did illuminate that he has the opportunity potentially to get the long-term investment from this team, noting that a quarterback like Dak Prescott, who I believe was a 4th-round pick, also ended up being the future of the Dallas Cowboys franchise, and clearly that's working out for them very well. So Heinicke just has to keep doing what he was doing to make a great case, but he will not be the only quarterback that will be out there in free agency, whether via trade or whether just by regular unrestricted free agency, like a Daniel Jones and what have you.
All right, that is our NFL insider, Josina Anderson, a very busy woman. She's got 2 cell phones on her desk there, if you notice that. Always giving us the very latest in the NFL, talking Zach Wilson, OBJ, and also the Ron Rivera interview. Make sure you head over to the CBS Sports HQ YouTube channel, and you can watch that entire Ron Rivera interview in full with Josina.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.